Microsoft held an event today showing off all of their new hardware that will be rolling out this fall. We're going to be rounding up all of that news that you may have missed, so let's go. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals, and some years these events are bangers where they're showing off crazy new hardware, and some years are update years, and this year it's an update year. I've always called this fall Microsoft event the Surface event, and that name does not apply this year. This was an AI event with some product announcements stapled to the end. The first 40 minutes were all about AI Copilot. Now, this is Microsoft's AI helper tool set, and so if you like ChatGPT, good news. Microsoft is ChatGPTing up all the things. They are integrating Copilot into all of their apps, into their operating system. It is going to be everywhere and on everything. They are going all in. That's not really my thing, so I'm going to be focusing on the hardware and specifically some of the things they announced today that work with pens. They only actually announced two products. The first one was the Surface Laptop Go 3, and the second one was the Surface Studio Laptop 2. Now, the Surface Laptop Go is their entry-level laptop. Kind of compares with like a MacBook Air, right? We've got a 12.5-inch touchscreen. It comes in 4 different colors. Those colors are looking really nice. There is only one model available. It is 8 gigabytes of RAM and 250 gigabytes of storage. That's not bad, actually. In the past, Microsoft has only put 120 gigabytes of storage on these things, which I think is far too little for an operating system like Windows. 256 is low for someone like me, maybe if you're drawing a lot. However, for an entry-level product, that's not bad. This also got a little bit of a price bump. The last generation came in at $699 as a starting price. Now it starts at $799, and that is about it for the Surface Laptop Go. Now, the Surface Laptop Studio is one of my favorite laptops. I love drawing on this thing. Drawing is fun. I like the construction method where if you can learn how to draw basic shapes, you can basically turn those into everyday objects. And this is what I teach in my latest course, Learn to Draw in 60 Days. We cover a whole bunch of stuff, but one of my favorite parts is that we start simple with things like a cube, and then we turn that cube into a dresser. And how would you draw that dresser if the door was open in perspective? Then how do you make that boring dresser look more lived in? Every day is a new video lesson with homework, and you can go at your own pace. We spend several days in this course just filling up this room with all sorts of different objects, each day creating something new and adding a twist. bradsartschool.com if you want to learn more about this course and any of my others. Go there. This is one of my favorite laptops. The fold down screen is so much more convenient than, say, a 360-degree hinged laptop for drawing. It makes it much easier to access the keyboard. So if you're drawing and then an email comes in, well, guess what? You just flip the screen up and you type your email instead of moving your computer back around and setting it up. What we have here is a 14-inch display. This is a more squash display than most laptops. I said squash, squarish. The display is also 120 hertz again. This is something that's surprisingly hard to find on laptops nowadays. Most are only running at 60 hertz. They bumped up the processor. We get a 13th gen Core i7. And this was kind of exciting. They just kind of snuck this in there. The Surface Slim Pen 2, they didn't really talk about it. They just showed it on the screen briefly. Cost $129. That's a lot. I really liked the last version of this pen, this original Slim Pen that came out 2 years ago. That was a big upgrade over the original Surface Pen, so I'm excited to see what changes they may have made here. They also talked a little bit about Windows Studio FX, which should really improve the haptic touch of the little trackpad. The trackpad in the old version I thought was really good. It is very hard to find a Windows product that has a trackpad that comes anywhere near the Mac's trackpad. The Surface Laptop Studio's old trackpad did, so the fact that they're really focusing on this should be really interesting to see and play with. It also should be a boon for accessibility as well. So that's a really awesome addition. So this device used to start at $1,600. Now it's starting at $2,000. That is a pretty significant price jump here. But one thing that I noticed when I was looking at the configurations, there's 6 of them, is that what it looks like is they just threw out that original configuration, which I thought was probably a little too underpowered to begin with. Now it starts at a pretty significant level. level. 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabytes of space, that's pretty good for illustration. Once you jump up to the next level, you can start to get into their graphics card. This offers a variation between GeForce RTX 4050, you can get a 4060, or a 2080A. Or is it 2080? I don't know, I've never heard anyone say it. The SSD configurations go all the way up to 2 terabytes, which is really nice. The other thing that you can get is up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. Last time I got the base configuration, that's probably what I'm gonna get to review again. And I love the laptop so much that I wanted to keep using it. I didn't have enough hard drive space. I think at the time it was 256 gigabytes was the base level last time. And there's just no way I can do video editing on that. I'm just gonna have to constantly be removing stuff. So I think these are solid upgrades. I'm digging what they're doing here. Also, they've added a USB type A port, the port that will never die. This is probably based on consumer feedback. This is one of those things where everybody still has USB type A peripherals. People keep making USB type A peripherals. So we're kind of stuck in this world, so just give us the port so we don't have a dongle. It kind of makes sense, very consumer friendly. You still have 2 USB Type-C ports, and this is kind of nice. There is a mini display, not mini display, micro SD card. How come I can never get that right? It's micro, not mini. The outer design has stayed pretty much the same, and if you're looking at the pictures, the design does not look fantastic. A lot of people do not like that design. And that was my first take too when I saw pictures of it and video of it when this device was first announced about 2 years ago. But using it in person, I thought it looked really nice. The thing is it's sitting on top of that platter, so it almost looks like it's floating a little bit. When you're actually viewing this at any kind of angle while it's sitting on a desk, it looks thinner than it really is. And it's a very sleek design. Plus it lets you like nestle the pen in under there, and that's where it charges. This thing starts at $2,000 and it goes up to, what does it go up to? $3,700. Wow. Now, if you've watched a lot of Surface events in the past, you may have noticed somebody who was missing. Panos Panay, who has led the Surface division since, I believe since its inception, stepped down earlier this week, saying in a tweet, "After 19 incredible years at Microsoft, I've decided to turn the page and write the next chapter. I'm forever grateful for my time at Microsoft and the amazing people I had the honor to make products with." Is this weird? This feels weird. People leave jobs all the time, so it's probably not weird, but leaving your job 4 days before an event, your event, which is an effective, immediate resignation, it looks kind of weird. Pour one out for Panay. I can't think of anyone who has pushed computer hardware innovation more over the last decade than he has. The Surface Pro, the Surface Studio, the Surface Book, the Surface Duo, the Surface Laptop Studio we were just talking about. There's also the Surface Neo. That was a 2-screen PC that got shelved after they showed it off. Lenovo picked up the ball and ran with it, released something similar earlier this year. That was a cool laptop. One of the early goals of the Surface product line, if you go back to when it started like 10, 11 years ago, at the time, Apple had surged back from obscurity, and they showed that controlling the hardware and the software at the same time really let them innovate in some ways. Microsoft also wanted to innovate. They wanted some of that mojo, so they created the Surface line in order to push the boundaries of what computer hardware could be and really rethink Windows' interface so that other companies could take it, grab it, and run with it. In looking back at all of the cool laptops and desktops and just awesome stuff that has come from the Windows ecosystem just in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I would say mission accomplished. Yeah, there were some missteps along the way. Sorry, Windows 8. But hey, if you want to make some eggs, you got to break a few omelets. I think looking back at what Panos Panay has done is pretty remarkable. He's left a giant mark on the PC world, and I personally am very sad to see him go. This is starting to sound like an obituary. He's not dead! He's going to Amazon. So maybe we will see more cool innovations in the future. So that was the Microsoft event. Next week, I have a review of the Wacom One 13 touchscreen display. Also got another news roundup of some of the cool stuff that has been happening in the last week or two. Some big news from Affinity. Just a lot of stuff to check out. So subscribe if you want more of that. Let me know what you think about this event down below in the comments, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.